Welcome to the B. Lenore Show. Here, we will discuss lifestyle, beauty, celebrity gossip, and current events in our own way, my way, B-style. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to the B. Lenore Show. Here, we will discuss lifestyle, beauty, celebrity gossip, and current events in our own way, my way, B-style. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hey, 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 how is everybody doing? Y'all, I feel like I just left you, right? I feel like I've been out here all day. Maybe because I've been out here all day. How are you guys doing this evening, though? Thanks for kicking it with me earlier today. You know, some of you spent some time with me all morning and afternoon watching the hearing that was taking place in Atlanta with District Attorney Fani Willis and that whole case. And I'm telling you, I was so mad. I was like, why are we doing this? Why do we have to watch this during Black History Month? But sis made us proud today, okay? So anyway, had fun watching that with a few of you today. That's cool. You know, I was doing double duty, trying to work and trying to listen in on that. But I was getting ready for tonight because my girlfriend's here. Yes, my big sister, my friend, someone I really, really look up to. And I love her spirit and her heart. And she's been here before. She's no secret to the show. So she'll be out in just a second. But let me say hi to you guys. Hi, El Diva. How are you? Hi, Cassia. Is it Cassia? Is that how you say it? Cassia said, that iconic hairstyle of Mo Better Blues. I love her. Yes, yes, yes. Honey, let me tell you about that hairstyle and Mo Better Blues. Let me tell you about that hairstyle. I remember going to the movies to see Mo Better Blues, all right, with one of my best friends, still one of my best friends to this day. And we went in there, and that was actually the day I fell in love with Denzel Washington. But that's neither here nor there, okay? That is not the point. But we also fell in love with Clark Benacourt, aka Cynda Williams. And my girlfriend left that movie that night and said, I'm cutting my hair just like that. And literally less than 7 days later, she had the same haircut. Okay. We loved her and that hair. Okay. Hi, Shalon, my beautiful moderator. Hello, hello. Hi, Fedora, another beautiful moderator. Hi, Lexi, the law nerd. Lexi, I'm so glad you were in the chat earlier today, honey. You had me cracking up and keeping us on track. All right. Hey, Shay V, how are you? Hey, Kimberly Black, another gorgeous moderator. Hey, Phoebe. Hi. All right. So it's time. My girl is here, and we're going to talk all things related to this Club Shay Shay interview with Monique. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, but I haven't talked about it. And I figure who else best to talk about it with than my friend. someone who's been in the business, understands the business, and can just have this conversation with me. All right. So with that said, I welcome once again. This is the third time she's been here. My friend, my sister, an actress, a singer, an author, a writer. She's everything. A producer. She's all things. And she's here tonight. Welcome, Miss Cynda Williams. Hey, Cynda.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're good. We are good. Hi, Real Brown Family Chronicles. Welcome. So, how you doing today, sis?
I'm fine. I'm just doing my thing like we always do. I had my own little podcast, and that was a surprise how that ended up. It was good, but yeah, I'm just reaching out and touching people, hopefully.
Nice. What was the subject today on your podcast?
Well, we really left it open. We called it All Things and Anything Love, since Valentine's Day weekend and all of that. And it was really deep. We were talking about, truth, man, hardcore, not your googly-eyed romance stuff, but relationships and how they work and, what doesn't work. And it was good. It was good.
You know what? I watch your TikTok all the time, right? Showbiz. So if any of you have TikTok or Instagram and Facebook, she's on everything. But I love her morning. It's like do you do those in the morning, or they feel like you're fresh?
Yeah, I do two different ones. One is the meditations with Sin. It used to be walking meditations with Sin, because I would do it when I was walking, but I found that I like to keep it consistent the day that I come, and sometimes I couldn't walk. So I changed it to meditations. And then the other one is Showbiz, and where I talk a little bit more about the industry, because so many people are interested in that. And it's very short, 1 minute snips, and I can say a whole lot in a little bit of time, and it's been very positive for people. So, and for me.
They are very positive. They're always very motivational. And but the other day, maybe it was yesterday. Was it yesterday that you talked about love scenes?
Yes. Yes.
And I thought it was so great, because we've had this discussion before, but you were talking about how they view love scenes versus the reality of a love scene.
Right. Exactly.
And you, Miss Sex Symbol, you've had your share of love scenes.
I have. And what I said to those of you who've never seen that, I just said I ain't never been in love with not a single one of the people that I had a love scene with. Even the cute ones, I wasn't in love with them, and they weren't in love with me. It was just the job.
Well, you did fall in love with one, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
No, I never fell in love with one. I just married one. Love was not the motivation.
If you know who that one is, y'all put it in the chat. We talked about it last time. Not last time, but the first time you came on, we talked about. Do you know the whole chat was like, what? Like nobody. How did you keep that marriage secret? But don't say who it is. But if you all know who it is, if you remember from that interview, who was Cynda Williams married to that she did a movie with? Big star. I'll give you another hint. He's an Oscar award-winning actor. Yeah, look, they putting it in the chat. Billy Bob. Billy Bob. Now he's brilliant as hell.
Absolutely. And that's why I married him. I fell in love. I did fall in love with his mother. And
done. Goodbye.
I did, because she was, I love my mom so much, but she was a different kind of mom because she had so many needs. So I did a lot of supporting her, and sometimes she was going through so much. So Mrs. Thornton was like a mother to me in a different way, and I just loved her so much. And he was going through some stuff and I'm not gonna say that. He was going through some stuff that I felt that if I did not say yes, if I did not go through this with him, we might lose someone, because he was going through a lot of hell right then. And he believed that me marrying him could save him. And Maybe it did. I don't know. There's a lot to it than that, but I wasn't in love with him. I love him, but I was not
Right.
in love with him.
That's funny because you said you fell in love with his mom and he fell in love with your dad.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He did. He and my father were friends far after we went our separate ways. I mean, I never talked to him again. But he talked to my dad all the time. And my father he was a cop and he became a therapist. And my father would basically give him therapy, for years. So yeah, that's why when we were getting married, nobody questioned it because she loved me, my family loved him, and why shouldn't they get married? But there was a lot of reasons why we shouldn't have got married because love wasn't a part of our equation. Mhm.
It's funny because while I think love is important, while I think being in love is the most magical feeling in the world, I don't think that should be the only reason why people get married either. Like, like you can't have respect and trust and I don't know. You can't have other attributes and not have love in the equation and it
Mhm.
be worthwhile
Mhm.
versus can't even just be in love with somebody and that be enough either if they don't have all
Mhm.
these other qualities. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
you
we
really
talked about that tonight. It's like love is not enough. It just isn't enough.
Mhm.
Love, 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 love for the whole world. Yes, that has to happen. It has to happen, which will put us into that other stuff we're getting into. But
Mhm.
being in lust or being even in love with someone does not equal compatibility. You can love someone desperately and not like anything about them. And
Mhm.
and so you need more than love. I
Mhm.
learned on my feet, you know. And with him, it wasn't even that. I didn't love him like that. I loved him like a friend. I loved him like a friend.
But sometimes that's necessary too, actually,
Yeah, I think that is necessary, but we weren't good enough friends. And
Okay.
we weren't and I was a friend to him. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily think he was a friend to me.
Gotcha.
And so that yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff you got to think about before you're ready to make that move. And it took me 3 marriages and a lifetime to figure that out, you know. That's why I'm taking my long sweet time. I don't give up on love because I love to love, but I want it to be with my best male friend if possible, that we have things in common, but yet we can teach each other things, that we are comfortable with each other. We have a life um, perception of life that is in alignment. And that takes time to figure out.
Amen. That's true. Well, let me ask you this. Since we're talking, since it's the day after Valentine's Day, I'm just curious. How often would you have to step back and try to figure out when because a lot of men love Cynda Williams. A
Mm.
lot of men love at least who they think you are, who they see you on movies to be, they fall in love with this image. How often have you had to decipher whether or not this person is a fan or are they really someone who's for me
Every time.
every time?
Every time. Because before that movie, I had only had relationship with I had a boyfriend for 5 years from high school into college.
Mhm.
And then I dated another guy that I loved very much. He was great, but our lives were taking us in separate places.
Mhm.
But that was it. And I was a virgin. And so I just had I didn't have boyfriends at all. I wasn't allowed to. So
You know,
FOMO Better Blues comes out, and then every other relationship happens. And most of the time, they fell in love with Clark or Fantasia or any number of characters that were nothing like me because I am a true actress. When I act, I'm not I'm using parts of myself, but I'm not Clark. I'm not Fantasia. I'm none of those people. I am very different. And I'm very good at being gritty and dramatic and stuff like that. I'm very good at it. So it's believable that I'm being me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not being me. Now there are some actors that I know personally that are very
They're themselves in the
yes,
role.
they're always themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that because they have beautiful personalities.
But is that
Um,
acting?
it's a form of acting. It's a different kind of acting. You think of comedians. Not all comedians are the same, but many of them have a lot of attributes that they're presenting because they're presenting themselves. And certain people become stars because of their personality. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is a perfect example. He became a star because he had the look and because they wanted that character. They wanted him, and he was way more than the character he played in most movies. Way
True.
more than that. But he
True.
was hired to play the same kind of guy, the same tone, the same presentation, because that's part of his personality. Me, it took years. It took streaming for people to recognize me in the other 60 projects I've been in. People say to me all the time, what happened to you after Mo Better Blues? Well, Google me. You know what I'm saying? Look me up because I've done a lot of work. But
Right.
they don't know that,
Mhm.
because I look different, I act different, I am different. And honestly not different enough because I can't wait. I hope I get more work that lets me show my scope. It's much bigger.
Mhm.
It's much bigger than even those projects have highlighted. So
You
yeah.
just said something though a minute ago that kind of, I don't know that, I mean, maybe we've talked about this before, but you're saying that before Mo Better Blues, you only had the two relationships and had been a virgin for, up until
Throughout
that.
that. Yeah, they knew that I was a church girl, good girl, and I really believed in waiting for marriage.
But you were a sex symbol. How are you so freaking sexy all the time?
Because I'm a good actress.
You are.
I'm a good actress. Matter of fact, there was a lot of anger at me when certain parties found out that I was, because
Oh,
so
well,
so
yeah, never mind. Yeah, no.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Well, let's talk about, some things that have been in the news lately.
mhm.
Um, I don't know. Club Shay Shay is the hottest trend right now, especially for 2024, and that is the podcast for Shannon Sharp. And he's had the show, I guess, a little over a year, but I honestly had never watched any of the episodes until Cat Williams was on earlier this year. And
Mhm.
I loved it. That was probably one of the best interviews I think I've ever seen. Now, I know you don't normally watch this stuff, but did you happen to see the Cat Williams interview or
I
anything?
did because it was so monumental that quite a few people sent me. That's how I see stuff, is if my friends say you got to see this.
Mhm.
And they knew I was a Cat Williams fan. And so I was happy to listen to his interview because I've always been curious about him. His
Mhm.
life fascinates me because he's so brilliant, and I could
Mhm.
tell he was, but now I know how brilliant he
Yes.
was.
Yes.
So yes, I did watch that. And I understand his motivation. He came on that show to clear up some things that he felt was not true.
Mhm.
And I understand that. And this year is supposed to be like a planetary shift when it comes to the truth, when it comes to
Mhm.
people coming out and towers falling and lies coming about. um, and he has started it. You
He
know what I
set
mean?
it off. Okay. He
Mhm.
straight up set it off. Hey guys, if you wouldn't mind, please hit that like button. And if you happen to have a platform that you can share this to, I ask that you share it. If you want to share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on TikTok. I don't give a damn. Share this shit. Okay.
Share it.
Okay. Oh, and one other treat I meant to tell you guys. I'm gonna try and keep this interview to a good solid, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes or so, and then we're going to members only. So hopefully you're a member, so that if you want to hear what we have to say over there, or you want to send us some questions yourself, I'm going to drop the link and let you do that in members only. Got it? Okay, good. All right. So with that said, yes, I love that whole Cat Williams thing. I agree. It does look like this year is all about truth and revealing the truth. They said that about 2020. I felt like on some level it did. It gave us a little more vision. I feel like 2024, though, it's already on and popping. And it's only, February 15th.
Mhm.
And already so much has transpired. And that interview alone sent a ripple effect of people responding. And honestly, everybody who came out to rebut things that Kat said only proved him right.
Yeah.
Every single person, whether it was about stealing material or mistreating people in the industry. I'm sure you've had your share of seeing all of that transpire, or even happen to you, being in the business, where people lie on you or try to, they're jealous of you or whatever it is.
Honey, you can't even imagine my story. And I'm not an agitator. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I handle me. I am more of a pray about it. I'm more of a let it make me work harder. I refuse to be anybody's victim. I just won't do it. And everything that happened to Monique that I know about happened to me quadruple. You know what I mean? And much worse, much more. So that's not my vibe. That's not how I handle my business. I'm not saying anything against what she's done, because it was her truth. And she is one of those agitators. That's not in a negative connotation. That is a person that stirs stuff up so truths start happening. And that was her truth. And, everybody else involved, they're telling their truth. And it's good that we talk. I've never been the person where, hide in a closet about stuff, but I'm not the type of person that's going to out somebody publicly. They know what they did. I know what they did. And
I know what they did too. And I'm mad at you for you.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, I'm telling you, she had an Oscar before this stuff happened. And I never got to another movie before I started feeling the wrath of certain people because I wouldn't do certain things or be a certain way or sell my soul. I wouldn't do it. And so they truly, 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 truly tried to take me down. But you see, I got 60 movies. You see, because I'm like, I don't care what they do. My existence does not get affected by anyone unless I let them do it. I don't care what they do. So we just all have different ways of handling things, and there is a need for all of us. There's a need for a Monique. There's a need for a Cat Williams. I'm just not them. So I've kept my stuff to me and my closest, and that's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about a couple of things that she hit on, and like pay disparities. That's one big thing. And we know that a lot of the controversy around Monique really started to hit the fan when she became very vocal about how she felt she was treated during the whole Oscars campaign. But let's talk about that real quick. As far as you know, what are the responsibilities of an actor, actress when you are promoting a movie? And what are the responsibilities? Like, how far is too far? And what's not enough as far as what's expected of you as an actor in a project?
Well, I think things have changed a lot since I was at that level. Okay. I didn't freaking give a crap. If they wanted to give me a platform, I was taking it. You don't have to pay me to promote my movie because I want everybody to see my movie. My payment is people seeing the movie. me being able to share my art and my thoughts and my platform. So contractually, it may have had some limitations. I never cared enough. The only time I have not done publicity for a movie is if I think the movie is terrible and I don't want anybody to see it. So,
What?
and I've had a few of those, and I would do only minimal publicity. As a matter of fact, after Mo Better Blues, from that point on, I always asked to see a copy of the movie before I agreed to any publicity, because not everything deserves it. You know what I'm saying? Not everything. There was a movie I did once where, and I actually don't mind the movie. There are things that are, to me, that are sad that didn't happen that should have, but
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was disrespected. I had just had my baby, literally half a month before I started doing this movie. So I was big. I had rolls on my back and all this kind of stuff. And the character I was playing, it worked. It worked for most of the movie because I was supposed to be pregnant in the movie. But
Okay.
then, but then at the end of the movie, there's this like scene where you see us 4 years later, and we're with our kid, me and the character, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the very last scene is you see my freaking back through sheer material rolls of fat. They put me in something that was sheer. I didn't even notice it. And the wardrobe people didn't notice it. The director didn't notice it. Nobody, the DP didn't notice it. I looked horrible. And I was like, I felt like I was not respected or kept safe. So when it came time, I said, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm sorry. I'm not going to push this movie. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm not going to do it because you didn't respect me as a human being, and you showcased me in a less than nice light. And
Mm-hmm.
since you didn't do your job, I'm not going to do this. And, you know, it was an independent. It's a little different with studio stuff. There's
Mm-hmm.
requirements for that, you know what I mean? And contractual stuff. And you know, but there was a studio film, or it wasn't studio, it was a HBO or Showtime, one of those. And they took out my voice. They dubbed over my voice without my approval, without talking to my agents. And I found out when I watched it.
For
And
what reason though? Like I don't understand.
because they didn't like my voice, they said that I didn't sound like an FBI agent.
Oh,
FBI agents have low voices. And since I had a higher pitched voice because I hadn't found my voice yet, I was so young,
mm-hmm.
they had an actor, a voice actor, dub my entire performance, and she sounded nothing like me. Her performance did not match my performance. And
What?
I called my agents and I was like, what the world? What in the world? Did you talk to them? Why? They were like, no, they never called us. And it came, and so they're like, let me get back to you. And it came down to your word against ours.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So they put that movie out there like that. And I didn't do publicity. I'm like, I ain't doing it. No.
You you said that you made it clear that you wanted to see the project. So you're telling me that people go out and promote things before they even view the film?
I did. I did that with Mo Better Blues. I did because
Wow.
I was brand new to the business, didn't know anything about it. I didn't watch the dailies. For those that don't know
Mhm.
what dailies are, it's like the scenes as you shoot them, they'll show them. You can go watch. And I had
Oh,
never seen,
so you can see that whatever you shot that day, you can watch it on
you
the
can
spot.
watch it. Yes. And I didn't know that. So I'm sitting in between my parents with boobs the size of a globe in front of our faces. And I did not know it was going to look like that because I never saw the shots. I never saw the framing. I never knew anything. Yeah. So it was horrific for me because
What'd your dad say?
my dad didn't say shit. He just looked straight ahead. And my brothers did too, and my mother did too, and my
Really?
boyfriend did too. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was very, very, very uncomfortable. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have done the publicity because I think I would have had to, but at least I would have been prepared, you know.
mhm, mhm.
I had no idea that it was going to be so much of me shown, which is stupid. But I was a kid. I was 23 years old. I didn't know nothing about nothing, you know. I
Mhm,
came from Muncie, Indiana. I didn't know anything.
mhm.
So you live and you learn. and I learned, and that from that point on, I was like, I have to see the movie, please. You know.
So, as far as though, with the Oscars, let's talk about that. What's the process for? I hear people talk about campaigning for their Oscar.
Yes, the movie, the production decides who they want to campaign for, because they can't afford to campaign for everybody. So unless they're a huge studio, so they can do campaign for multiple people. But smaller films, they'll pick and choose. Okay, we're going to push the writer and we're going to push the actor, and they pour all this money into promoting them. So when it comes to the point when people are voting, they've been seeing all over television. They've been seeing in interviews. They've been seeing in magazines. They've been seeing on social media that this person is nominated and they were great. Go see the movie. Vote for this person. I actually know a personal, as it wasn't my story, but it was someone else, a friend of mine, or an acquaintance of mine. Let me say that, that's more honest. An acquaintance of mine was doing a movie with an acquaintance of mine. So I knew them both. And I was privy to some private information. And the movie, the independent film, decided not to push one of these people. They did not push them for the Oscar campaign. They pushed the other person. And then that other person said nothing about that other person. They did not push him. They did not give him his props, and he carried them through that performance. They had that performance because of him. And so livid, so mad at the independent film company that did it, mad at that person, because felt totally betrayed, and in a sense he was. But that person decided that they did not want any more to do with them because of the stuff that had gone on. Didn't want any more to do with them, so never mentioned them. Never said a word.
Wow.
Yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. People get lost, and they have great performances. Like shoot, Barbie. I mean, you like it or you don't like it, but the fact that the guy was nominated and not, the girl. Now, I personally think it's because they had way more choices of females to choose from. And while she was good, she was very good, she wasn't like some of these other performances, like the Maestro, a woman in Maestro. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's just like, blows my mind how phenomenal.
I don't think I saw that.
Girl, watch that movie. It is fabulous.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. What's his name? The guy that played the male lead in it. So terrible that I can't remember right now, but Bradley Cooper, Lost.
Yeah,
girl, I didn't see Bradley Cooper. It took some time for me to recognize him. He was so phenomenal,
Really?
Yeah, but it would be like he gets nominated because the campaign is for him, and it totally ignored her.
Gotcha. Now, I've heard things like, not only do they have to be out and about and seen and go everywhere and promote it that way, I've heard things like, and I don't want to say this if it's wrong, but there was an actress, I wanted to say it was Halle, but it might not have been Halle, but it was someone who was campaigning, and they were asked to like cook breakfast for certain individuals, members of the Academy, I guess. But there's so many members of the Academy, so how do you even know who you're cooking breakfast for? But anyway, but I've heard like stories like that, like they're having to go above and beyond to not just promote the movie and promote. It feels like to me some of it is just politics.
It is. It's all politics. I mean, it's. I all the movies that I've voted for, they don't always win. You know what I'm saying?
You're a member of the Academy.
No, I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA. I'm a voting member of SAG-AFTRA.
Okay.
And many movies that I've nominated in television shows or actors and actresses don't get seen because they don't have the campaign, or they aren't doing the things, or they don't have the ends. It is very, very, very political. It's
So
very.
SAG is or SAG-AFTRA is Screen Actors Guild. So when they have the Screen Actors Guild Awards, you all are the ones
Who vote?
voting.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
had the opportunity a few years ago to be, I was able to vote for what was going to get voted on. So I watched like 100 movies. I watched all this stuff, and I voted on, people and movies and television or whatever that I believed should have been there. And very few of my suggestions made it because they did not have the political power to get to that next point where we would get to choose. Yeah, it's politics. That's why, I'm not a hater about the awards stuff, but it doesn't mean anything to me because, I'm not voting, I'm not going for somebody because most of the time it's not based on the performance or the production. It's based on who got cooked dinner or breakfast. You know what I'm saying? It's not a system that I care about. You see, I ain't never been nowhere. I've been on one award show and then I never was invited again. And they cut me out of the presentation because I had been blackballed by then. And so they cut me out. It was a big
First of
award.
all,
It was a big show, but they cut me out and they never invited me back because I had been blackballed, you know.
but the people doing the blackballing was being blackballed partially them. Never mind. Let me get out of that. Okay.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
already know what you're talking about. So am I right about what I'm saying in my head? I'm sure you're reading.
It was not just one person.
Oh.
It started off as one person, and then see, one of the things that Kat talked about this, but Monique did not. Oprah is not all powerful. Tyler Perry is not all powerful. They have their bosses. That's who's in power. That's who's running the show. Sometimes Oprah can't change things because she's been told not to. She can't do it. She's got her bosses. You know what I mean? It's the problem is so much bigger than what she talked about. It's not those one person or whatever. It's this whole system that Kat talked about that's in place. And that's why I can't be mad at certain people for certain decisions because they're working for someone.
Yeah, that's correct. But that's hard for some people to even be able to digest because these are billionaires. So you're thinking a billionaire is answering to somebody? Yeah, because somebody made them billionaires too. Why you fooling? And trust and believe there are bigger billionaires than these
And
folks.
many people become billionaires because that is their payment for the things that they do. I mean, I'll tell this story, a personal story. When I was right after Mobetta Blues, I was sat down by some people and they told me what they were going to do for me. They're going to make me rich. They were going to make me famous. They were going to give me everything I ever wanted. All I had to do was let them make every choice for me. They had to choose. They got to choose what I wore. They got to choose my companions. They got to choose the projects that I would do. I was not allowed to do independent films. I had to get in line to get the riches and to get the fame and to get all of that. I had to sell my soul. And I was a kid and not knowing how I was stabbing my own self in the back. I was like, no, nobody gets to tell me what I perform and what I wear and who I'm with. I'm so sorry. I really want to work with you. I really want to do these things.
Did
But
they outright tell you we have to choose your
yes,
partner?
yes,
Your partner? Really?
partners, everything. They run my life. And I was like, Nothing. Money is not that important to me. Fame is not that important to me. You can't say no to me in a coffee shop when I sing. You can't say no to me when this young kid from this independent film puts me in his film. You can't say no to everybody. Somebody's going to work with me. So I will have a career and my soul at the same time. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Thank
real.
you. Thank you. My name is Not Girl. Thank you. Thank you for your super sticker. You sent me 2 super stickers. Thank you so much, my love. I appreciate it. Wow, that's crazy. You know, the fact that I just never look, what you're describing is what we hear the Illuminati does. Do you think there's an Illuminati?
I have never met the Illuminati that I knew of. So I don't know. But I know that there are people running things. I do know that.
Okay. And so
Mhm.
when you hear we heard Monique coming out telling us about Tyler and Lee Daniels and Oprah, and she told them what they could do for her and what they had done to her as far as she was concerned. And I never thought Monique was telling a lie. I felt like she was telling the truth. I didn't like how she told it. And I
Mhm.
didn't like the venue in which she did it.
Mhm.
And then fast forward, we get to a few months ago, and Taraji P. Henson is breaking down and telling us that she's working her ass off, but she's not making the money that she should be making at the level that she's at. And that, you know, she's been in a lot of big movies. And what was the one with the Benjamin Buttons? That one in particular, that I felt like that really showed us a different side of her. I thought she was fabulous in that. You would think that would change her life, and it sounds like it just didn't.
No.
So when we hear it, there's a lot of people who has sympathy for Taraji that they did not necessarily express towards Monique. Why do you
And
think
and that Monique said it. She was the messenger. She was the messenger, and they didn't like her because she's loud and she's brash, and she tells her truth no matter who believed her. And Taraji instead cried and seemed saddened and almost victimized. I think it was a courageous thing that she did. I mean, I can agree with everything she said because I experienced it too. I've never been paid the of my worth. I've never,
that?
never been paid what I deserve. And that starts with number one movie and all, and that kind of set it up for me. I mean,
Mhm.
only time I ever got paid the what my worth was is in Japan. In
Oh,
Japan.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
here. They ain't never paid me what I deserve. And eventually I started making a little bit more money here and there. But no, no, they never paid me. They never. I would do a movie. I'd do a miniseries, and everybody else would have a house, and I'm in a hotel room,
Mm,
without a car and can't get to a grocery store. You know, she
mm,
ain't saying nothing I ain't experienced, and she's right.
mhm.
She's very right.
I do think that what Monique did was necessary. I just, again, this is me talking. This is my personal opinion. I just did not like the delivery of it, but I never doubted her. I think it was necessary to speak up, speak the truth. I even think it was necessary for her to put her foot down, even during that time period where she feels she got all the backlash, where she said, "Look, I just can't do it. I contractually, I completed everything that I was contractually obligated to complete as far as promotions were concerned. I don't want to go overseas right now. I got my babies at home. I'm just
Mhm.
tired and I'm not getting paid for it, you know."
Right. I
And
get
it's
it.
not like she was being bullied into doing what they wanted her
Mhm.
to
That
do.
and that isn't fair. And I, like you said, it was not the message that was wrong. It was just how she delivered it.
Mhm.
And but that's just who she is. She's just being herself. So I'm
True.
not mad at her for being herself. That's who she is. I mean, I got a lot of family members and we are all very different and we communicate in different ways. And
Right.
like my dad I'm just telling you the truth. But he would be mean sometimes. Sometimes you were, I'm like, I can't hear your truth because you hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? And so they could use your personality against you. And that's what they did. I believe every freaking word she said about that. About some of the other stuff, I don't know nothing about. But but I've experienced what she talked about. I've experienced it personally. So I know that happens. And I think it happens all the time, especially to people that look like us.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm not complaining about it. I'm just happy to be on a freaking movie. I'm just happy to be doing what I love, and I can pay my bills for the next 3 months. It's only going to be 3 months, and it's going to be this place I'm renting. It's not going to be anything I own because I never made enough money to own nothing. And I was never taught anything about how to invest in myself. So I would have things based on how I saved and how I invested. Those are, generational issues that we're trying to break. My generation is trying to break, those kind of things. But I understand completely why she made that decision.
Sure. Wings and Mambo Sauce, thank you for your super chat. Says, I'm going to be singing Harlem Blues all night long now. Yes. Okay, well, let's get to the content here. Okay, I'm going to show a brief little clip because this Monique's interview, there were a couple things that were spoken on during that interview. Like I want to say her situation with DL Hughley was brought up. I'm not going to go into that right now because we're short on time, but I do want to discuss the piece where she talks a little bit about her relationship with her son. And since that interview, and since she has spoken on her son, and this is not the first time she's spoken on this relationship with her son, yet we've never heard from the son, and he's an adult. But we had never heard from the son, but we had heard her, even in other interviews, kind of speak on their relationship and how she, at the beginning of her career, when she was I don't even want to say she was a single parent. I don't know if that played a part in it. It could have, because she was married 2 times, I want to say, prior to her current husband. So it wasn't like she had never been a married woman. But at the end of the day, she said her focus was more so on her career than it was on being a mother. And she recognized too late that, how that set up this new relationship she has with her son, which now seems to be a little non-existent. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. This is just a short clip of Monique talking about her relationship with her son.
Is he resentful of that?
We're still very much separated. Okay. And it's one of those things where you have to pray to the universe and say, let time do the healing. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Right. That's it. Let time do that healing. It may heal it in time and it may not. And that's something that we as parents have to say, listen, right. I've done what I could do. I've taken accountability for it. Now it's up to you. Right. That's like when somebody's saying, Shannon, I want to apologize to you. Now it is up to you.
Whether or not to accept.
But once I give it to you, I've done my part. And don't apologize like no punk. I'm just sorry for everything. That get your ass out of it. No, break it down. Let's go bit by bit so that way we know you understand the offense that you.
What's your relationship like?
Okay, is it enough to just say I'm sorry?
No, you have to change your behavior.
And if you know that you're the cause of the issue, I feel that you've got to go the extra mile if you really want it to heal. I mean, this is your child. I feel like that's the most important relationship we can have on the planet. sometimes. You know, they say our spouse is supposed to be number one, but for many of us, some of us had kids before we had spouses, and some had kids after the spouses were gone. And so the kid is the one thing that remains, you know, your mother, your father, your child. Those relationships are very important, and they spill into the positive parts and the negative parts of those relationships spill into other relationships that you have with your friends or your lovers. And I just feel like you got to do more than just say, I'm sorry, and then let time do the healing.
The other day, my daughter and I, she's going through some things, and I made it, I was telling her she shouldn't let someone else make her choices for her, be empowered herself and make her own choices. And then when I hung up with her, I was like, shoot, I'm doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And I realized, you know, there's some things with my daughter that I'm allowing her decisions to dictate mine. So I called her back and I left her a message about it. And I was very strong with what I was saying, but it was about me. It was about me. Well, honey, she went the heck off. She went off because she thought I was judging her. She thought this and thought that. And while I knew that's not what I was saying, while I know my daughter well enough to know that she was listening to a tone and not to my words, I had to call her, and I had to talk to her, and I had to say, I'm sorry that you felt that way, love. That is not what I was saying. I was talking about myself. I was scolding myself. I was just sharing this information with you. I do not judge you. I understand you, and I got your back. But I had to I couldn't, because she's my daughter, then say, oh no, she can't talk to me like that. And no, mom, because somebody's always wrong. Usually both sides are wrong. So if you care about a relationship, if you truly love this person, you're going to do everything you can to make sure that they get it, understand you. And if you don't, you're making a choice and you're creating a legacy, because those things affect our children, which affects their children. Now, maybe they learn the right thing from you. Like he said, I thank her for showing me how not to be a parent. That's very valid. You know, there were some things my parents did that were phenomenal, and there were some things that I was like, I'll never do that. So yes, he did learn them. But something in him is triggered every time he thinks about that, or deals with this person, or deals with that. It's the healing is very difficult to obtain if you don't really hash it out, you know?
Yep. Look, I had to learn the hard way too, that while there were things about my parents' parenting, not, I shouldn't even say my parents, my mother was very hard on me. And there were things about her parenting style that I couldn't get with. I mean, I always felt like she didn't understand me. She didn't love me. Or, I mean, of course I knew she loved me, but it felt like she didn't love me enough because she was being too hard on me. That's what I thought. And as I got older and then I became a mother, I realized, oh, I see what she was saying. So when I tried that same stuff on my son, it didn't land the same way that hers landed on me. One, I'm him. Two, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, and he's a boy. And at the end of the day, I had to recognize that if you didn't like it, why are you trying to imitate it? You know, you may have fallen in line because of it. It didn't mean that it strengthened my relationship with my mother. In fact, it made me hate those parts of our relationship. You know, I loved her. She loved me, but there was that tension that I couldn't get past. And here I was trying to almost recreate that in this relationship with my child.
That's because she passed that legacy to you. She passed that legacy to you, but you are enlightened and you recognize that, so you shifted, you know. And I hope and pray to God that young man can do that, so his children have a different experience. And it seems and appears as if he is, because when he talked, and I'm sure you're going to show some of it, I only saw one, but when he came out, he was gentle, he was honest, He wasn't yelling and screaming. He just
Yeah.
said, this is what it is. I'm tired of hearing this narrative that's not true. And I want to set the record straight. There was, so he seems quite healed, you know what I'm saying, from that situation.
He does. Let me ask you this. After, and I'm going to show a little bit of the response, but after he did his video, Monique and the husband came out and did theirs. Did you see their response to his? Okay, let's watch a little bit of his, and then we're going to watch. We'll watch a little bit of theirs. Okay. All right, here we go.
I am Shalon.
Oh, can y'all hear? I
Mm-mm.
can't hear. Hold on. Oh, that's
I guess
very
I
low.
felt the need to make this video to just provide some context into this false narrative about her prank.
Stop sharing. Why is it so low?
He's kind of low. He wasn't yelling and screaming. He wasn't projecting. He was just talking.
Yeah, but I could hear it on my phone. Well, let me put it to you this way. Maybe we won't listen to that particular clip. Well, let me say something. What in the world? It is not high at all. Okay, hold on. Let me I'm not gonna play that clip then. Let me play. Okay, basically we'll summarize. He comes out and he tells us that pretty much what you said, that what he had heard, what he's tired of hearing his mother talk about is this fact that basically that her attempts and their relationship and the cause of it are not the way in which she has presented it to everyone. And he also talks about the fact that he's never once discussed this publicly before, but he's tired of hearing it over and over again. So after that transpired, I'm going to go over to Monique's. I don't know why it was so low. That was weird. They came live, she and her daddy. Okay. She and her daddy came live to tell us some things about the son. Okay. Awesome. Hold on. Okay. Let's see.
So hard because we was able to get it set up.
Can you hear that?
We was able to push the button. Hey, come on now. We want you babies to come on in here. First of all, how y'all doing? It's been a minute, my babies. It's been a minute. Life been lifing. Life been lifing. Where we at, Daddy?
What do you mean?
Okay, yeah, I think it's enough babies in there. All right, let's go get it. Come on.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We just wanted to take a few minutes to address a couple of things that have taken place after the Club Shay Shay interview. Much love to Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
Good brother. Thank you for allowing Monique to come on the platform, be a listening ear, continue success on what it is that you're doing. Thank you for being a real one.
Yeah, baby. Thank you. Thank you.
We wanted to address first and foremost our brother, D.L. Hughley. And we are firm believers on what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
So we got to start off by saying there was an inaccuracy as it regards Monique saying that there was a cease and desist that was given to DL to shut it down. What had taken place, to be accurate, was after Monique spoke to brother DL.
Okay, just as a quick recap, they're discussing the fact that years, and I mean many years ago, Monique came onto the DL Hughley radio show that he had. It's not the current syndicated radio show that he has. I think it was another one. And or no, I take that back. It might be the current show. But anyway, it was years ago that she came on the show. He wasn't present that day, but they still interviewed Monique, even though he wasn't present. And he had a co-host. His current co-host was just Jasmine. I can't think of her last name, but Jasmine sort of led that interaction and what have you. And at the end of the interview, she wanted to play a little game that they do with all their guests, and it was Would You Rather. And the game that they suggested, the Would You Rather, was they asked Monique. They've asked her would she want to play the game. She said sure, and they said okay. It's would you rather? Would you rather allow your husband to sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom, or Corinne Steffens, aka Superhead, without a condom? And Monique was offended by the question, and she said, I'm offended by it. Like, what y'all doing? Like, I'm not gonna sit here. Why would you put my husband in? Like, I can see that. I can see how she could be offended by that, or be like, I'm not playing this, like this some bullshit. You know, I can see why she would feel that way, right? So I don't know how it happened, but they ended up calling DL, or she asked, can y'all get DL on the phone? Because I want to talk to DL. And they get DL on the phone. They talk. When DL gets on the phone, she says, you know, they want us to play this game, and da 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 da. He's like, yeah, that's how we get down. That's how we do it. You know, whatever. And she's like, well, I'm not cool with it. And she explained what she didn't like about it, or what have you. He said, okay. When they hung up the phone, he scrapped. I don't know if he scrapped the entire interview or if he just cut that portion out.
He said the entire interview. He said he scrapped it.
Okay,
so
he scrapped the whole interview.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he just did it on the spot and made that executive decision. But they're saying they sent a cease and desist or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On that conversation, Brother DL said, what?
Well, after we spoke on that conversation, when we hung up that phone, the last thing he said was, it is what it is. And I said, DL, then we're going to have to get our attorney involved. That's the last thing me and DL Hughley said on that conversation.
And after having that conversation with Monique, we went and got our attorney involved, Attorney Anderson. At the time, there were some emails that were transferred back and forth between his side and our side, and it escalated to a point when we had our attorney on the email, whereby then finally DL said that he would scratch the interview.
Yes.
So it was inaccurate that a cease and desist had to be given. However, that was the next step, and that's what Monique remembered, because when I discussed it with her, we said that would be the next step. But to DL's credit, at that moment, when it had escalated, that's when he decided to shut it down. However, that is a bit different from how it seemed to have been communicated, whereby on the phone, they were having a conversation and it was kumbaya. Though he never used those words, kumbaya, it did not end with her being under the impression that this was going to be resolved.
Okay, let me say this too real quick. My issue is this. The interview was between Monique and Shannon. Whatever situation that happened on the DL Hughley show was between Monique and DL. Whatever has really been going on between Monique and her son is really mostly between Monique and her son. But this husband is doing the talking in the response. I don't like that. I don't like that.
And shut down. So we wanted to make that clear out of love and respect for Brother DL. And despite all the commentary that he gave, with all the crunches she be doing, the captain's in the front.
I do.
And
I do.
tell her.
I'm a sneak snacker, baby.
And she doesn't sneak when she snacks.
Hey.
But nonetheless, we wanted to be clear because at the end of the day, we Black folks in this world of entertainment. And there was a level of harshness in his return that seemed a little bit exaggerated for the moment. And we wanted to make it clear, and I think Monique can do it best when she speaks in reference to what she meant while talking about DL in the past.
You know, when I watched DL say, she went after my wife, she went after my daughters, I want to really be clear who I went after so that there's no confusion here. When I was on stage, when I'm on stage and we are performers, we are performing to the audience in front of us. When I was on that stage and I said, it must be hard to perform oral sex.
But differently.
Okay, on a coward. That had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughley. That insult.
Well, it kind of is. It kind of does hit home for everybody. She said, basically, do you know what she said that night on the stage?
Oh, she was just saying it. It's just ugly stuff. I can't. Yeah.
Because and you may not realize this, but 2 years ago they didn't bump into each other, because that is what she led the audience to believe, that. But there was some mix up with DL was the headliner, and she thought she was the headliner, and honestly, that sounds like a real promoter's issue. The promoter lied probably to get her there, or told everybody what they need to tell them. But he had it in the contract that this is the way it was going to go. And when he didn't agree to let her go on as the headliner, she got mad. And she went out there and said all kinds of foul shit. It was real nasty. And they never even had words and hadn't seen each other in 20 years. So to me, that just seemed very crazy. And that's not, that's what that gets me upset with Monique. I feel like a lot of what she says is the truth. But when it comes to stuff like this, it's like, well, why are we doing all this nastiness when you've been mistreated?
I just feel like I don't think it's cool to use your platform to get back at someone because something that they just did or whatever. I mean, especially including their families. I think that's, but again, this is her humor. This is what she does, you know, right or wrong. This is who she is. This is how she performs. She said Monique is not the same as Monique. And so Monique, I guess, would do that. But as an actress who plays a lot of different kind of roles, you still have to be responsible when you do, especially when you're inferring that you're being yourself and you're talking to someone. I mean, you're talking about real people with real lives, and you use your platform to get back at them. You know, it's like a Mean Girls situation. You know, it reminds me of that movie, how they so mean to each other, and they use all these ways to hurt each other. Instead of, you know, just saving that for backstage or saving it for another time. So, you know, but like I said, everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's living and learning. In my humble opinion, which you can take or leave, all the attention put on this negative stuff is just perpetuating it. And maybe it's time for it to be perpetuated. Maybe it's time to break it up, you know. But I have found that what I put my focus on, I'm attracted to, and everything I don't like, if I don't like something and that's all I think about, I get more of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the law of attraction. Whatever you focus on is what you will attract. But now on the flip side, I understand that sometimes people do get to a point where they feel like I've reached my limit, and if I continue to hold something in, it's gonna be a problem. But I never see Monique being the person who's holding anything in. Like, she seems immediately responsive. But Doris just said Monique flies off the handle at times. She's instantly reactive.
Yeah. V,
What's the
Huh?
you know my story, right? You know a lot, not everything, but you know parts of my story. Have you ever heard me say none of that stuff out loud?
Absolutely not.
No, because you I trust, and I'm not trying to perpetuate anything. And
Well,
so
I just want to
you
knock
can
some
get it.
people out for you.
Yeah, you can get your truth out there to people that you trust, and but
Sure.
to use a public platform
Yeah.
to humiliate and discredit, even if what you're saying is true,
Mhm.
is a choice that you're making that will put you in a position to be hurt, because I think she seems like she's probably a good person at heart. She's made mistakes like all of us, but how she comes off as is no, they're not looking at her weight. They're not looking at her color. They're
Mhm.
looking at her words and how she uses them. And
Mhm.
so we get lost in that instead of the truth, which is
Mhm.
important for people to know so we can stop doing these things. But we
Mhm.
can't hear the truth when you're yelling at us, you know.
Yeah, and insulting us and all of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let me see. I'm trying to go fast forward through
directed
this.
straight to you, DL? That had nothing to do with
I don't
your
know how to
wife.
do it on the
That was
computer. I can
straight
do it
to
on my
you.
phone.
So it felt like you were trying to pass it off as if I was going after your wife. When it comes to your daughter, to the baby that you did a post about, you did an interview
Child,
about.
I didn't like this
I
at
didn't
all,
do that
but
interview. I simply reposted what you said. So when you say, Monique, you went after my daughter, that's untrue, DL. I posted what you said. And then when you said on your, when you were really going for it with your shades on, and you
how
said,
can I fast forward?
I stood by and watched my daughter be raped. D.L. Hughley, that's your conscience talking to you.
But that didn't happen.
I never said that. I never said that. And I want to be a little clear about something else. Never would I try to do anything to harm any of your babies, because we got babies too. So never would I try to do anything to harm your children. However, what I was saying to your daughter and to the other daughters out there, I know what it's like for your daddy to know you've been touched and he not protect you, because my daddy did the same thing. That's what that whole point was. But I was showing why I would call you a coward, brother. I don't think it's brave that you didn't protect your baby. So when I said what I was saying, let me be clear to you, D.L. Hughley, it had nothing to do in reference to your family, and you know that. Now, when you were speaking and you were going off and you said, what did he say? She was so offended by the game we play, but you didn't say what the offense was. And that's the part for me that is disheartening, that you continue to try to trick and smoke and mirror our people. If you're going to say it all the way through. When you say family is sacred, you are absolutely right, baby. You're right. But when you say would my husband rather, and you co-sign your team of people doing that, well, isn't my husband sacred? So you got to be careful in your words, because the very words you use, DL, they're going to come back, and they're coming back to bite you, baby. And what I also said on Club Shay Shay, when I looked in that camera, I said, DL, I love you, brother. And I don't know if you didn't hear that part, but we really do. We love you, brother. And if ever you get courageous enough to want to have a conversation, we're always open to it, because doing that, it shows how our community can get better. When you're wrong, as we had said to you, hey, brother, we apologize on that one.
Yeah, incorrect on the cease and desist. And I want to add one more thing. When you spoke in reference to your daughter being a reason why Monique stopped speaking about it, what you don't even understand, out of love for you, See, you can have a problem with your brother, but you're not going to take it out on the kids. And we respected the fact that she tried to defend you, but we got 3 big ass sons. that if we were
Woo,
to
wait, stop right there. This is where the first problem came in. This is why the son was upset right here.
Yep.
He
And this
said,
is what prompted him to respond.
Yep. You got 3 sons, sir. So he had a son prior to them getting married, and she had a son, which is Shalon, who we'll hear from in a minute. And then they had a set of twins together. But he's only acknowledging these 3 as his sons. And she sits right there and allows it.
think about it in the same way that she thought about it, what would that be? But out of love for you. We're not going to go after your child trying to protect the father that she loves. But one could argue, based upon what you said about yourself, had you exhibited the same type of love and protection for your other daughter that your other daughter tried to exhibit towards you, there never would have been the commentary that you made about yourself. And I liken it to Brother Corey Holcomb, who I don't know, but I got a lot of respect for him because I heard him say something in an interview. He spoke about how Earthquake's son had came to one of his shows, and the young man was hesitant about introducing himself or reintroducing himself because of the rift between his father and himself. And Brother Corey was like, come on, man, no. You come over here and I'm going to give you love, because that was between your father and I. And it made him reconsider the whole thing and reach back out to an old friend.
Hold on, let me address something. So the tea lounge, it may be a fact, but that doesn't make it the truth. See, a lot of people get caught up on the facts. So the tea lounge says, but it's the truth. He was a young man when Sydney and Monique got married. He grew up with Sydney being like an uncle to him. Well, guess what? Monique knew his son too. And she didn't say, we got 2 big ass sons and 2 big ass nephews. Monique knew his child as long as he knew hers. So how is that? I don't understand. And when people get together, the circumstances change, or they should instantly. He is no longer uncle. It was weird for everybody in the house to be calling him dad. He didn't want to call him dad. He said he was attempted to call him pop. Because it would be weird to me that my uncle is now married to my mama. That's weird. It was probably weird for them anyway to make the adjustment. So I'm trying to understand, how is that a justification? The son is the one who said he wanted to call him pop. Why wouldn't he welcome that? I don't think that's fair.
In my humble opinion, that's what real men do. We come from
I love you, the She Lounge.
We're not going to have no problem with your children because we love them and we love you and we want y'all to win. Not at the expense of the community, though, being demeaned in order to get followers. But from the standpoint
Hold on 1 second. He didn't raise this boy either, though. You know what I'm saying? He didn't raise. She said, how old was his son when they got together? Did she raise him? No, she didn't raise his son. And he didn't raise her son. They knew each other because they've been best friends since 14 years old. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's an excuse. She didn't correct it. Okay. What does that say? Is this the Harlem Blues? The one and the only. Okay.
If we come together, we're going to win just by default. So at the end of the day, when you get to talking about how Monique is not loved and this, that, and the other, that's your perception. But what I'll say is it is due to the love that we have that we're able to love those that say things that could be construed as hurtful, but we understand that the old saying of hurt people hurt people. So we don't take what you say personally, brother. And again, it's nothing but love. In addition to the fact, I'm Q-Sci-Fi. Just like you, except I've been in about 29 going on 30 years. I'm not going to argue with you, frat. Ain't nothing but love. So we wanted to extend that to you and let you know what it is. And again, if you ever want to speak, let's have a real conversation. But people needed to know where the confrontation on stage began, and it was from that day.
It was from that day. And once you own that day, DL, guess what, baby? We'll be good.
What day?
Now,
the day that he cut the interview that she didn't like?
Talking about we gonna be good and talking about taking ownership.
I want to talk to my babies at the Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
I want to talk to my babies at the Breakfast Club. Listen.
Do we have to?
Oftentimes people don't know what
Can we get to her son?
Yeah. I was trying to get to
It's too long. Ugh. I can't listen to it. Too much.
You down. Let me tell y'all about Cynda Williams, okay? Miss Thing is very zen, okay? She is very zen. She likes to be calm. She does not like, in fact, I don't think I've ever really seen you angry. Now that I think about it, I haven't. I've never seen you
Good
angry.
for you. Because when I'm angry, honey, I am a true Taurus. I got patience. I'm cool. But if you push me for too long, it's not pretty. Let me just say that.
You've never seen that, and I don't want to then.
Nah, you wouldn't see it because you're too kind. You're not going to push those buttons. But there are people that do. And
Well,
they get it.
Deidre Dale in the chat says that you are not the Mo Better Blues Cynda. You are the caught up Cynda, damn it. And she, okay. Right. All right. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm like getting bored with these people. So sorry. I know this ain't my show, but dang gone it.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna take them down. Okay, this is what I'm doing. We can get to. Let me make sure I can hear this one.
Okay. Yeah, that's who I want to hear from. Her son impressed me. Because he did the same thing she said she did. He gave his truth, but he did not mean to hurt anybody. He just told his truth.
Yep.
Wasn't brash, wasn't mean. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Hopefully this isn't. I got all the volumes up as high as they'll freaking go. So let's see. Hopefully, and he does speak low.
So I find it unique that my video was in response to my mother and not her husband, but yet he still had the most to say, which isn't uncommon. I also find it unfortunate that my mother does not seem to speak on her own. The only two worlds that I know where daddy is used is for children speaking with their fathers and women acknowledging their pimps. Her husband starts off by literally doing the very thing that I said that they would do, which honestly kind of made me feel as though their response was ironic because they validate my original video. Either A, she has some newfound moment of clarity, or B, she retreats back to daddy. In her retreat back to him, though, he does not acknowledge what I did say, but instead begins to create a new narrative of things that I did not say, which negates the effects of a response video. The two of you essentially created a new video rather than actually respond to what was actually said. You also brought up my father. My father, though, is not doing interviews talking about me. In quick regards to the 3 sons comment, under the context in which your husband was speaking, by your rationale, Ma, he should have easily had no problem saying 4 sons, especially since you say he knew me before I knew me. The two of you can sometimes come off as seekers of weak levels of empathy from others, while at the same time sidestepping any accountability that one may need to take. To attempt to address what I said to another man while also trying to make your wife victim number 1 has nothing to do with you. My father did not need you to speak for him. You're her daddy, not his. My mother has been speaking on our relationship for years. So to imply that only one side of a story was told when there are several articles and interviews throughout the internet discussing my strained relationship with her, filled with quotes from your wife speaking directly about me while also providing vague context and downplaying the impact of an uninterested mother. I am 33 years old and have had ample opportunity to go to the media and tell some BS story for a BS amount of money, but instead I am on TikTok expressing my feelings for free. If the two of them were paying attention, I literally explained in my first video why I am responding using TikTok. And I should not have to repeat myself. My mother also states there are some people that are saying, oh, you should be ashamed of your mothering skills. You should be ashamed of yourself. This is what I say. Let's let it play out. Because the same ones that were saying, oh, I was crazy, I was deranged, we watched it play out. So just like with my son, we're going to watch this play out. First of all, who the hell is we if it ain't you and I reconciling our relationship? Second of all, it's power in a word. Nobody is playing, but I can understand why you would use that word specifically. As you stated in the Shay Shay interview, you had the mentality of a 15-year-old child. You required a man to raise you, and you were acting like a little girl. These are your words. It doesn't matter what context I have them in. This is how you thought of yourself as a grown adult who was someone's mother. Last time I checked, Monique fans, a 15-year-old grown adult who acts like a child but is in search of their daddy, they don't typically make efficient parents. But hey, I could be wrong. On a more serious note, to sit there and allow your daddy to address my mental health in a weak attempt to pass my response off as a moment is disturbing and insulting to those of us who do have mental health issues. The way I presented myself was no different than my mother and her daddy presented themselves when addressing DL Hughley. And her precious sweet babies ate it up. DL is wrong because he's so loud. Mo and Daddy are right because they're so calm. But I, for some reason, don't get the same energy. To simply try to call me crazy is dismissive and cowardice. Attacking somebody's mental status is a clear sign that you have zero to stand on. Furthermore, what kind of person still has a text message from their wife's son that is over 2 years old, still in their phone, saved just for the purpose of re-showing it to him?
Just to be clear, and I think I just showed this stuff out of order because what they just responded to, this is what that first video that he did was responding to, I believe. No, I take that back. He responded to the Shay Shay video, I think, and then they did that one video. Then he comes out and does this one, but then they come back again. So, okay, we'll finish.
It's just so ridiculous.
What did you say?
I said it's so ridiculous. It's so sad.
It is. It is.
The end of it, you said something along the lines of, if you don't respond, I understand. I could care less about what your message was about. But for you to say in the message, if you don't respond, I understand, why was it then that when you and I did speak after that message was sent, the first question out of your mouth is, hey man, how come you didn't respond to my text message? I found that to be very unique, but I did not need an explanation on how to speak to women or how to listen to women. That was not what that situation was about. My mother showed me how conceited she is in that situation that you were referring to. For a woman to villainize the actions of her son for being a man and a father to his new family, simply because she had not heard from him in 2 days, as though her phone was broken and she could not check on me. Because last time I checked, I was a new parent. I didn't get a new house. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't just get a new game system. I had a baby. And in those 2 days that you did not hear from me, I was handling my business as a man and a father. But I'll assume your phone and the phones of those around you were all broken, which I wanted to believe was the reason why you did not respond to a message from your son expressing his concern over some bumps that your grandchild had on her back. You would later make it your business to tell me that you got the message and chose not to respond because her other grandmother is a nurse. Damn the fact that she is also your blood. And shout out to Nana. My baby girl loves her some Nana. The statement about money and then stating, don't let nobody introduce me to you, is not a competent statement to make because it wasn't a complete sentence, nor did the two things correlate with each other. And when did you have the time to introduce yourself to a son that you weren't interested in and didn't do the best job you could do? I'm starting to think that you're not hearing yourself. To address money, you gave me $10,000 for a down payment on a car. Yes, thank you again. Thank you. My girlfriend and I were already prepared to put our money together and get a car. You and your husband called us one day and stated that y'all were going to give us $5,000 for a down payment. We said, okay. You then called us back a day or two later and stated that you would be giving us $10,000 for a down payment on the car. You and him made the conscious choice to give us that money. We did not ask you for anything, but this is an example of a rich person doing something for you. And because this is, an example of a rich person doing something for you because they want to do it for you, but because it doesn't have the desired effect that they want it to have, you are inconsiderate and ungrateful. But let's take it a step further. I eventually would uncover that my mother had left me a UTMA worth $45,000. You never brought that account to my attention. You claim it was because you forgot that you even set it up in the first place, which validates my original point. Who forgets that they invested $45,000 into a child that at that time is the only child? When I was homeless and I called you to help me figure out how to access the account, you said, Shalon, I don't even know what you're talking about. And if I did, why do you think I would help you? After finding out from the Georgia Department of Revenue that they had been sending me mail to 3 separate Georgia addresses, all of which I lived at with you at some point or another. For the life of me, I can't grasp how those letters managed to slip by so many people at 3 different locations. I did, however, eventually get access to the money and the brokerage account that you had set up for me with Morgan Stanley. To be fair, what you put together for me was amazing, especially had I let it sit for a year or two, which made it bittersweet that you wouldn't have wanted to help or even educate me on how to manage what I had. My blowing through that money is all on me, and I have to take my accountability for that, and it's a lesson learned. Sydney stated that the last time that him and I spoke, I wanted to call him Dad. The actual truth is that I wanted to call him Pop. Calling you Uncle Sydney, but my mother calls you Daddy, and the boys call you Daddy. It was getting a little awkward. And yes, for a very short time, I did feel that way about you, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. Oh, Black Jesus. I do just want to really quickly give a really, really big thank you to the support that I've received throughout this. I didn't think that was something that was going to happen. I didn't make that video to have a tennis match with my mother. I do not plan on making any more videos. This is it. I've said what I wanted to say. To me, if you're not going to acknowledge, you've already shown me that you don't care enough to acknowledge what I did say. So I definitely don't have the expectation that you're going to acknowledge now what I'm saying. So it is what it is. But once again, I want to say thank you again, man. That day before I posted that original video, I went to sleep with 25 followers that I probably could name all. I could probably name all 25 of those people. I think I have over like 12,000 followers now. That's really cool, man. I really appreciate that. But I just can't say thank you enough. I know I sound like a broken record, but I do appreciate the love, and best of luck to my mother and Sydney. And I hope that the Cat Williams tour is incredible. I really, really do. But when it comes to me, I am going to enjoy being a dad and being a man and just going through life, man. I don't want to be famous or notorious for being someone's neglected kid. I don't want that to be my story. And I only said what I said just to provide context, not to become anything. But y'all be safe, man. Peace.
Yeah, I mean, I believe him. Now, there's one last video here that he has. Can you guys see that?
Here we go again, right? Yeah. Hi, I'm Shalon.
6 minutes.
I'm gonna jump right into it. I guess the intelligent thing to do when assuming that your son is having a mental episode is to post personal screenshots of text.
Okay, so let's be clear. After this last video, then they posted screenshots of text messages. Did you see those, Cynda? And that's what he was referring to. And they were text messages from 3 years ago, because it sounds like they haven't really spoken in 3 years. So that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
And they called him crazy. So
messages that are 3 years old in an attempt to validate a false narrative, as if they are some type of receipt. You also invaded the privacy of my daughter's grandparents by posting your receipts. Neither of you should never speak on mental health again if you thought that idea was a good one. As a person who lives with mental health issues, let me be the first to educate you that there are individuals who have taken their lives, harmed, and also taken the lives of others for doing the very thing that you so proudly did and your fan base pats you on the back for, which is very telling to how strangers will buy into your toxicity. Picking up the phone to check on your son that you believe is having a mental episode to make sure that he is okay, while also making sure that your granddaughter is safe, is too much to ask, I guess. For those wondering, I have gone to therapy on several different occasions, and that is not something that I will ever be ashamed of. I have even gone to therapy with my mother on several occasions. But for those who know how efficient therapy only works when both people are being open. My mother was still in her 15-year-old mentality phase during that time, so I guess I understand why she did not know how to be open with me during our sessions. When a person becomes accustomed to being a victim and others get used to seeing them as one, they live their lives in a state of internalization, meaning you consistently receive another's approach as an attack, constantly putting you under the illusion that you need to always be on the defense, even in situations where there is no actual attack, just an acknowledgement of things already said by you. One should not feel attacked by an acknowledgement of the words that they stand on. You eventually become a passive aggressor. To address the men that had something to say in regards to men don't do what I'm doing, let me be very clear. How I man is none of your business. What and how I feed my family has no place on your plate. For every person that stated I should not have come to the internet, I would just like to ask, what do Club Shay Shay, the articles about my mother and I's relationship, the interviews about our relationship, and Instagram all have in common? Well, if you are competent, the internet. Furthermore, I did not expose my mother, nor did I badmouth my mother. I simply provided context to what was already being said about me, while also explaining why I don't speak to them directly. The reason those that feel negatively about what I said are just having a hard time differentiating between Nikki Parker and Monique. Please stop with the cornball idea that a celebrity can talk about a family member on the internet for years, but God forbid said family member says any one thing, and you all are outside with tiki torches and pitchforks defending not the actual person, but the idea of a person. These people are in an industry that is efficient at making money off of what is pretend. So in essence, you are defending a character. I love my mother, and it took the birth of my daughter to help me begin to understand the value of a mother. I am very proud of my mother, though, and I'm proud of the things that she has accomplished and will go on to accomplish in the future. My mother's bad, man. I watched that woman go from Baltimore to the moon. That drive is also in my daughter's blood. Not only is she still my mother, she's also a part of history, and I would be doing my daughter a disservice by not telling her about who my mother is and was. But since those messages that you posted were used as some type of a receipt to validate your false narrative, I figured I would take some time to gather up my receipts to validate my decision to move forward with my life without my mother in it. I do want to thank you all for listening for the now final time that I will ever address this topic, and I will leave you with my receipts.
What did you? Oh, the pig. She looked like Monique. Oh.
She does look like Monique.
She does. Because oh, this stuff made me cry.
And look at it, the joy in that child's face.
It's happy. So it's damn, she looks like her grandmama. here looking. Oh, goodness. Cynda, what say you? I think the part that hurt me the most just now, though, was him saying, you know, my mother's bad. Like he's proud of his mother. He loves him. I want to cry. And I think it's upsetting me because I know what it's like not to have one around, you know? You and I both lost our parents. And even in I'd rather take all my mother's imperfections and have them before me in this moment than to be without her altogether. You know what I mean? And there's nothing he can do about that when she's gone. But the fact that she's here and they can't heal this, it just hurts.
Yeah, it's sad because while he says everything is great and stuff like that, it's never going to leave him. And he's young, so he doesn't understand that. And it not only affects him, but it affects his children and it affects their children because that's how family curses go. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I have never been a person that says family or die. I've never been that person. If someone is toxic to me,
sure,
I am very happy to say goodbye.
That's true.
I will try my best. I will say what I can. I will try to heal it as best I can. But if a person doesn't feel good to me, they with their actions make me feel bad about myself, they are not invited into my life. So, you know, I have a friend who told me, you know, his father was so difficult that he was so thankful that he was not in his life. But it still haunts him. It's still something he's dealing with. But it's better to be haunted by it than to be dogged by it. If you're in their presence and
tortured by
you're tortured, it's better to love them from afar. Remember every beautiful thing about them. Concentrate your heart and your mind on that and let them go. That's my opinion. I don't know. That's just how I feel.
One fact, I did not know this. Deirdre Dale says, unfortunately, her son was collateral damage from Mo's first divorce. That guy, also not his father, adopted him. And Mo focused on her career rather than fighting for him. I wonder what his relationship is with that man. I wonder if that's really like a father to him. Look, hell, my son, I always tell people, and I'm sure his biological father is not crazy when I say this, but I always say I got one baby and two baby daddies. And my ex-husband, who was not my son's father, is still like a father figure to him. They work together right now. Like they do business together. Yet my son is super tight with both of his dads, you know, so to speak. So I hope that he has something like that. Well, with that said, I think what we're going to do is we're going to head on over to members only. Or maybe, I don't even know if I can. Let's see something. Can I shut this live down? Or maybe what I'll do, I'll tell you what, maybe what I'll do is this. I hate to do. Hold on. Let's see if I can switch this over to members only. Every time I've tried this before, it just turns the chat to members only. It never turns the whole live to members only. But let me see if I can do it. Just so we can have a few minutes for the members to ask any questions to Cynda specifically. Hold on, let me see. Oh, it won't even let me. Child. Okay, let me go another place. Why is this so difficult? All right. see if I can do it this way. Cynda. So, something else. Someone in the chat said this is a little different when it's when your parent is a public figure. What do you say about that? I bet it is, because I'm sure you're trying to move on with your life, maybe, but then here's your mom, this big star winner.
Yeah, it is hard. That's why I'm very conscious about what I share about my daughter and her life, in our situations. If it's vague enough and I can express it and it helps somebody, then I'll do it. But like when she was a kid, man, I showed her life growing up. People watched my daughter grow up. But once she became an adult, and even then when I shared her, it was still vague. It was, the big things that everyone celebrates kind of stuff. I don't tell her personal life because it's her personal life. And especially now that she's an adult. So if your parent comes on and does therapy on some show and using you to do it, it's not this, it's horrible any way it happens, but it's much worse if it's a public thing, a public figure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to switch it to members only. Let's see if this works. So I did that. No. Members only, all publish. All right, says eligible members with notifications turned on will be notified, and moderators who aren't members of this channel won't be able to access the members only live. Okay, so let's see how it goes. All right, what are we doing, y'all? Are we members only? Are we still here? Yes, we're on members. Yay! Y'all. Okay, so only the members, and there may only be a few here today. So let's see how many members are there here in the chat. Most of my moderators are, let's see. All right, can you guys hear us? Oh, it says 0. Nobody's in here yet. But my moderators are members, so that's weird. But you know what? Maybe you get off, maybe we can get out of here free and clear and
yeah, I wouldn't be sad. I'm so tired.
I know you. I know.
But no, I'm happy to answer questions, but yeah.
I got you. Okay. Somebody just bought a membership. It's a long, loving from a distance can. Oh, wait, are you in here, Shell? You're still here. I'm still here. We still here. When I look at okay, so hold on, let me see. I think we are okay. It's just a few of us in here. Okay, cool. It's just us, y'all. It's just so it says 0, but there's not. There's more than there's people in here. Okay, but I can't tell how many people are in here. Anyway, talk to me, y'all. Let me see. I will drop a link real quick. If you guys want to come and ask Cynda a question, you can hit the link and ask the question real quick. Let's see. We still here, but you're not. Wait, what? What? Kimberly, what? I'm confused. This is weird. When I go out here to the it says that we're on members only, y'all.
Sorry.
Child, I don't know. Does anybody have any questions for Cynda? Because Cynda's sleepy, y'all. Okay. She tired, and so am I. Why you fooling? It's been a long one. We'll have to have Cynda back another time when we'll just do a members only live. Maybe we'll just do that for like 30-minute Q&A. Have you come back and do that, something like that.
That'll work. I'll be glad to.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just might just skip on out then. How about that? Ladies, everybody in the chat, Thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen, because there were some gentlemen in here as well. Oh, I see the green. We got Fedora. God Created Black is here. You guys have any specific questions for Cynda? Y'all, Cynda tired, huh? So either pop them in here real quick, or you can hit the link real fast. Let me know whichever one you want to do. I don't see any questions. Well, okay, I'll ask you. Let me see. Two real quick questions that you probably, or three. I'll do three questions.
Okay.
Who is your favorite co-star of any project you've worked on?
Oh wow. Her name is Nicole Brooks. And she's not. It wasn't in a movie.
Oh, okay.
It was in a play.
Okay.
Yeah, she was another Taurus, much younger than me, but she became like a sister. She's done a lot of work. She's done a lot of work on the stage, and she's a phenomenal writer, but she's also lately been doing a lot more on television, and she's doing super well. But she was not only a phenomenal actress, she's one of the best I've ever worked with. She was also a phenomenal person. And I've wanted to be friends with different actors over the years, professional actors over the years, and it just never happened. You know, you have busy lives, and and I'm not sure what it is about me that people aren't interested in going past the project. But she was a girl named Niecy that I worked with, Niecy Payne, oddly, and Trisha Man Grant, all from Chicago, which I find interesting. So I've worked with a lot of wonderful people, but those are three that stand out to me most.
Now, there was somebody else that wanted to continue working with you. You talked about this on one of our last interviews. This famous young lady, you've done multiple projects with her. And she went on to do some big things later on, and she wanted to work with you, but her people wouldn't let her work with you.
Yeah, her management was against it, and very rudely, if I may say, let her know in front of me that she would not be working with me. Because,
do y'all know who that was? If you remember from one of our last discussions, who she's talking about, put it in the chat. But yeah, big time. You did 2 movies with this woman, played her sister in both movies.
Yeah, I think it would have been wonderful if we had been able to do what we planned on doing. I think it would have definitely changed my life, but it would absolutely change hers, because I'm good, and I we highlight each other and bring better performances from each other. And I think it would have been a phenomenal experience, and it would have helped both of our careers in different ways. I mean, hers definitely not the same way as me. It would have given me a bigger platform and blah, blah, blah. For her, she would have worked with somebody that she loved, and maybe made a great friend, a really good friend, which I think she needs or needed at the time. I don't know about now. She seems to be.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know. What happened? Oh, okay. Lost you for a second. So we're talking about Halle Berry. Cynda played Halle's sister in Introducing Dorothy Dandridge and The Wedding. Which one was first? The Wedding?
The Wedding.
The Wedding. And then that makes me think, if you guys work together in The Wedding, I'm guessing first of all, didn't she produce
Dorothy Dandridge?
So she probably handpicked you. She probably decided to have
you. Yeah, she asked me. And both of them were offers, but the first one she wasn't in a place to offer, but she did have a say. And then the second one, that was all her. She called me. She's like, "Look, I'm sorry to ask you to play under me again, supporting to me." And that's why we had the conversations about the other possibilities. She said, "But I just can't think of anybody else that could play this part." And I was like, "Girl, you crazy. Shoot, I'm an actor. If the role is right, I don't care if I'm supporting. I don't care if I'm cameo. I just want to do good work, you know? So, yeah.
You guys had great chemistry. And you know what's funny? And when you said, you know, she probably, you know, you guys could have become really good friends. And I hate that you guys still couldn't have become really good friends, but your story doesn't sound foreign to me because there is someone else I know, another friend of mine who happens to be from Chicago, as a matter of fact, who used to work with her. And I think she always felt like there was something in the way of them being able to forge the type of relationship that she knew that Hallie needed at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like always some, you know,
There was a
external
hovering shadow. Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't tell my narcissism. That's somebody that wants to keep you here.
Oh,
Your meal ticket.
Fedora has a question. She says, Cynda, what would you change about a career? Oh, wait. Cynda, what would change about a career choice? And what have you not done that you've wanted to do?
One of my biggest mistakes, and I don't regret it at all because I don't regret things. But in the very beginning of my career, right after Mo Better Blues came out, I was offered Women of Brewster plays.
You were?
And I was Robin Givens' role. And my management team and everybody told me no. They said, because at the time, if you did movies, you didn't go backwards and do TV.
And that was a TV movie.
It was a very different thing. Now, shoot, everybody's trying to do TV, you know, because it pays so much better and you have more opportunity for longevity but at the time. And I wish I had not listened to them because I wanted to do it. I wish that I had said, you know, I hear what you guys are saying, but I don't care about, you know, how things are supposed to be. I want to do it because this is a phenomenal screenplay and I want to do it. So, things happen the way they're supposed to happen. But yes, that was a choice that I wish I had made a different one. And what have you not done you've wanted to do? Man, so many things. I mean, I'm a general consumer of products when it comes to entertainment. I like all the movies everybody else likes in the world. Don't give me a drama. I don't care about it. You know what I'm saying? Like Precious, that is not a movie I would ever put myself through, no matter how good the performances are, because I love to laugh. I love to be thrilled. You know, sometimes I love to be scared, although I'm trying to pull back from that because I don't want any cortisol running through my veins. But you know, starting to be very thoughtful about what I consume. But I love to laugh. And I haven't been in enough movies where the people laughed. I haven't been in enough movies where it was fantasy and it was interesting and because I love fantasy. I love it. I love sci-fi. I'm a consumer of those books. I read all of that stuff. And
really?
I haven't, because of my status and because of the blackballing and because of a whole lot of things, I've never been able to be in those kind of movies. And I think I would have been if people didn't have it out for me for the reasons they had it out for me. I think I would have, you know, or if I had said yes, I would have done all that. You know, if I'd have said yes to their offer. But I am not regretful at all for that choice. And if God has it in his will and if I really truly want it, I'll do those things. But right now my focus is more on creating content myself because I want to tell stories that are uplifting and encouraging. I'm not talking about, you know, religious stuff. I'm talking about stories that show people, real people, and how they are the way they are, how they became the way they became, and uplift instead of pull down. That's the kind of storytelling I want.
Nice. Okay, so then last question I have for you then is, who has been probably the nicest person that you knew of even before working with them, and there's someone we're all going to know, and they were just really kind, and maybe it even surprised you just how kind they were and how generous they
Mhm.
were in working.
Mhm. I haven't had that many experiences.
Gotcha.
Mm,
Well, you have had a lot of not good ones. That's what you're saying.
not good ones.
Gotcha.
I don't love actors.
Okay.
They haven't been very cool people. Hallie
Mm.
was. So maybe Hallie.
Okay.
Hallie was sweet. She's a very sweet girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what my other friend said too, that she's a sweet person,
Mhm.
been through a lot. I'm sure they have taken her through the ringer, through the years.
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. I'll never forget. This is like not people from the business doing something for her, but when we did the wedding,
Mhm.
I had done some stuff. I wasn't that known. I was still very anonymous. It was before streaming when everybody could see your stuff, so know who you are.
Child,
And
I knew who you were. I was like, that's the
but when we were working, a person, a maid, broke in or came in her room and took a bunch of her underwear. And she was so upset because her trust had been broken by the staff. And I was like, thank God for my anonymity. I mean, the stuff I've gone through is bad enough. The stalking, all that kind of stuff. I cannot imagine. It takes away your freedom. But that's a choice you make when you get involved with a public thing like this. People think they know who you are because they've seen you on TV, and so it's their right to do these things. It's their right to say any old thing to you. I'm not a blocker. Only time I block people is when they put on their dick pics. I'm like, goodbye. But if people, I don't block people, or I haven't in the past. People say whatever they want to you. They just say whatever they want. They are so freaking cruel.
Yeah,
And yeah, exactly. They're very cruel. And I cannot imagine if they treat me the way they do. I can't imagine the stuff that she gets. I mean, at one time I saw, because I do follow her, because I love her. She did a thing where she was talking about how people were talking about her being crazy and this, that, and the other, and her mental health and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I'm the whore, there's a good deal of people out there that think I'm a hoe. I sleep with everybody. They because of the movies, they assume they know who I am. And so with her fame, and that there are people out there that their sole duty in life is to be mean and troll. I cannot imagine what she just has to. I wouldn't even read stuff if I was her. I wouldn't want to know.
Maybe at this point she doesn't. I don't feel like she probably runs her social media because that would be hard,
It is, and because I do run my social media. So I know the stuff that I don't miss, but I'm blessed because I'm not big enough that people care enough. But there are some that do. I recently, like last week, I am very uplifting on my stuff. But one time I had to come out and say, I'm gonna forgive you, people. Because it was like I got attacked just this one week. I just got attacked by all these men. It wasn't the women. It was always men. It was always these men. And I posted about it. I was like, look, I'm real cool and I'm real patient. And you can share your thoughts. But the minute I feel disrespect more than once, I was starting to feel like a one strike you're out kind of girl, because I'm like, you come at me that way, I don't have toxic stuff around me. Not by choice. So if you're going to talk to me any old way you think you can, goodbye. There ain't nobody that I won't say goodbye to. Nobody. Mm-mm.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Stop with this whole idea you can't block people. You better block them.
I have been. I mean, I don't have to often. It's rare. It doesn't happen all the time. I'm very fortunate, I think I've had maybe 5 dick pics out of all these years.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Pretty good, actually.
So I'm
surprised.
a good communicator. I communicate with people a certain way, so they typically understand where I stand. You know, they understand where my boundaries are because I share my boundaries. Like for instance, I'm very terse when I do messaging. I don't talk a lot. I don't write a lot because once you invite someone in like that, they don't want to go away. They want to talk every day. And I don't have time because I got 50 people sending messages. So I'm terse. I will answer every message, but it's going to be like, oh, that's great. Wonderful. I'm happy for you. I have gone on at times, but it's typically if someone was really suffering or going through something because people turn to me for that kind of stuff. But even then, I'm not very verbose.
Yeah, I was gonna say because these people get real obsessive real quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they will even use those stories just to,
get in.
Yeah.
I had that recently. I had a guy that I had been dealing with, a fan for years, and he was very young. I think he's 27 years old right now. And so I've been talking to him, relating to him since he was like 16, 17 years old, uplifting him. Well, he wanted a relationship with me. And I was like, baby, you're my daughter's age. You're my daughter's age. And I heard him because I laughed. I was like, are you serious? Never in a million years. And honey, he went off on me. And I promptly said, block. You don't need my help. You need somebody else's help. I can't do nothing for you. And I don't want to hear from you. So I blocked him on all platforms. Good that's a child that needs something that I don't have.
Yeah, and be careful about even feeling the need to speak to everybody, because trust and believe. I mean, and here's the other thing. Now, I say the block button is your friend, because if nothing else, it may not completely block them out of your social world, but it will cause them to create another profile and act right the next time they come back. I mean,
that's happened to me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened to me too that I have blocked a few people and they have come back but they never fess up to who they are. I know who they are, but they don't think I know. They think I'm stupid. Like, okay, just keep your tone and your attitude to yourself, because I ain't the one.
Exactly.
I'm so serious. I'm not the one. I can be the kindest person in the world. I can be the coldest person in the world. And don't make me hot. It's ugly.
I ain't never seen that. I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't deserve to. Only people that deserve to see the heat see the heat. And that's very far and few between.
I'm gonna stay on my schedule. You said you had to go at 9:30. I'm gonna get you off here at 9:25.
Thank you so much. I hope we can do more of this.
We will. We shall. And as a matter of fact, I might even be your way in a couple weeks. So I'm gonna let you know.
Let me know. All right, love. Thank you. Thank you to all the members and everyone that listened in. I really appreciate your vibes. I feel you. Thank you so much.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Everybody, thank y'all for joining us tonight. I hope that was good. We I feel like I've interviewed her a couple times on here. So I feel like most people kind of already know a lot of this stuff about her. So that's why I wanted us to talk about something that was going on currently in the news. But with that said, I'm tired and I'm about to say goodbye to y'all. All right. So with that said, thank you to my moderators, to all the members. And I didn't say goodbye to everybody else before we went to members, but hopefully they feel the love. All right. With that said, I guess I'll go ahead and play my little theme song music out. Smooches.